Hello everyone, this is part 2 of the sensor to replace the Youshiko weather sensor temperature and humidity component, because of the last one obviously failed, and I tried it and it's no good, so I know that it's a problem. Now here is the actual unit. I'm trying to get that in focus as much as I can. There we are. And if I just turn it around, looks like this on the other side, and behind there is the little tiny little sensor. Right, I'm just going to put this back on the proto board. There we are, and let's have a look. So I've got this hooked up to the Raspberry Pi, and I'm just going to, so there's a Raspberry Pi down there, and where is it? Where is it, I hear you ask? There it is. So this is the Pi Man 5. You see a bit of lineage going on along the low LED screen now. I don't see that from here. And anyway, so that's hooked up to the breadboard here, and I'm using the I2C interface, of course. And here is the code for that. Now, I did this before with the AHT sensor, and for that one, we needed to have a different library. So now I've got the SHTC3 library from Adafruit for CircuitPython, and all the rest of these things that should work exactly the same as before. So first of all, I'm going to go on to the command line, and before I actually run this, I'm just going to, I've done all the environment stuff. I'm just going to show you that the detection of the address. So the SHTC3 comes up with address 70, and because this is the same chip which is on the Youshiko, I expect that to be the correct address. Now, of course, I'm assuming that it's going to work in terms of the actual software, and that the Youshiko will simply take this sensor and use it the same way. Of course, I don't know that yet, whether it will actually work, because this is all very new to me as well. If you're new to this is as well, that don't be afraid to experiment, don't be afraid not to know things, and just try, just have a go and see what happens. These sensors are, very, very cheap. That little sensor was about £6 delivered. So if I can get that sensor working again, weather sensor working, just for £6, well, that's not bad going, is it? Well, I say £6. I've already had the Raspberry Pi and everything else, to be fair. Right, so that's that, and you can see it's there. So I'm going to run the code, and you can see on the screen there, you can see that the temperature and humidity readings are coming up beautifully. So that's really good. And well, what else can I say except that is perfect. I'm just going to stick my head in front of the screen and just breathe on the sensor a bit. That might be easier said than done. Just going to move this out the way. And okay, just breathed on the sensor, and you can see the humidity has gone up to 80. It's gone up to 89, 90. Oh, it's still climbing. Just my moist breath is just permeating through the sensor now. Obviously, it takes a little while to go in. And it's still, that's just slowly peaking. No, it seems to have peaked about, not yet, so it's going up very slowly, and it's starting to fall again. There you go. So that shows the sensor working. There was also a slight change in temperature, which is also going down as well. So there you go. So that proves that the sensor actually works. Next stage of the process will be to put it back. Now, one thing I don't know about this package, the little plastic package that it's in, is whether it'll be weatherproof. I think the front of the sensor has a small aperture, obviously, to let the air in. Now, obviously, in an external environment, you don't want that to get blocked up with all sorts of other stuff, which is, I think, why there was a kind of little membrane over the other one. But then that begged the question, well, how does that keep the humidity reading accurate? You can see the humidity now has gone right down to 61, and it will continue falling until we get back to about the room humidity. Okay, I'm going to leave it there, and then in the next segment we'll be looking at this sensor within the Youshiko unit. Progress so far in reconnecting the sensor. So what I've got here, I've the sensor itself out of its case right now. So I've just been reconnecting some wires. And in terms of wires, I couldn't find any ribbon cable. So what I've done is I've found a little bit of alternative cable. Whoops, sorry, I'm using my hand here to hold the phone. So I've got a couple of cables here which are actually for LED strips. And actually I've already installed all of these strips, so they're just spare. And so I had a spare piece of cable. It's the only thing I had that actually had a convenient 4 cores to it. Don't have any ribbon cable handy. The stuff that I was using for testing purposes isn't really suitable. I think it might be aluminium cord or something. Anyway, so there we go. So that's the 4 connections there. Let me just lift that to the light a bit so you can see all the wording better. SCL, SDA, ground and VCC, and obviously I've used the red and black for the supply, and then the SCA and the SCL, SDA, SCL for the 2 data lines. And over here, if I just get that to focus, there we go. That's where it's going. As you can see, there are other sensors on this board that use the same I2C technology. The one there is going off to the anemometer and the wind direction vane. So in fact, and there's a few other things as well that I think are using very much the same idea. You can see it over there actually. So this I2C interface is actually doing an awful lot of work within this device. Right, that's the first bit connected. The next job now is to get those bits put back together and to reassemble that actually on the on this little plinth, ready to go back in position. So as you can see from this, I've got the sensor now back in there. Lots of hot melt glue to hold it in place, and as you can see, I've got the wiring coming out the side. And just to try and neaten it a bit, I've just put that heat shrink there. You'd probably say, well, why didn't you put it all the way through? Well, the thing is, the wires have already got little heat shrinks on the other side, so this is just neatening up the end of that wire and helping it a bit as it goes on the transition through here. What happened before with this unit is that this is the point at which the old ribbon cable actually failed, was right here, and it obviously corroded because of the wiring sticking out and not really being adequately protected. So I'm doing my best with between glue gun and heat shrink and everything to make sure that doesn't happen this time. So the next thing will be to get that onto the unit. Now, the other thing I've had to do, because the ribbon cable is obviously flat and the new cable I'm using is round, I've had to make some holes. So conveniently, nice little snappy bit handle that complete with the step drill makes a convenient way of introducing a hole in a place that was previously purely a slot. So I know a nice round hole for the cable. Right, next job then is to get that fitted back on there, run the cable through. Here it is. I'm going to run this cable back through and then reconnect it to the circuit board. Okay, everything is back in place. I'll pop a photo of the soldering on here rather than try to focus with the video, but suffice to say that everything is back in place. I've used some hot glue gun to try and fix all the ends of the ribbon cables, and yeah, that's all gone back together nicely. So the next thing will be to just reattach the case, put it all back together, and then I'll have to borrow one of the other units and try to get that to bind to this sensor and see whether the temperature and humidity bits of it work. Okay, hello. I'm going to be roving around with my video camera here, and also you'll get the general picture from over there as well. Now, what I've got here now is the sensor. Obviously the sensor here, got the readout over here, the display, and that is now showing me that all the data. It took me a couple of goes to get it onto this particular sensor over here, because that was obviously because I've messed about a bit with it was attached to the other one, the Bresser unit that's on the back of my studio, and here that this one of course is an interloper really, so I had to do a sort of a couple of resets and then bring this one up really close to make that work. So the sensor is here, that you can see there's the actual sensor, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this, my video camera, I'm going to put this by the my phone, I should say. I'm going to put my phone over here by the display. Find a way to prop it up. Okay, so you should be able to see the display. I'm just going to move the lighting around a bit. There we go. So you should be able to see the display. And what I'm going to do now is just to prove that it is actually talking. Now I am actually getting, by the way, the good news is I am getting a credible temperature reading. It's a little bit on the high side, but I always thought this Youshiko unit was a bit high on the high side, and also that the humidity is a bit on the low side. It's showing 51% humidity in there, and I'm getting as you can see, it says 16.3 degrees C at outside, inside 17.6. Now of course inside and outside right now are the same place, and it's had a little while to normalize, so I would have thought it would have dealt with that. Anyway, just to prove that I've actually got the right thing here, well, the first thing I did was to move the vane, the wind direction vane around, and that did result in a change, and you can just see that now on the other camera. So what I'm going to do, just to show that things are happening, I'm going to run the heat gun here. Apologies for the sound, the noise. I'm just going to run the heat gun here and just get a bit of airflow going. And you can see that's coming up to about 1 meter per second airflow. And because that's quite warm, I'm kind of hoping that we'll also see an increase in the air temperature on the sensor as well. That the humidity is increasing all of a sudden, so that's an interesting. Oh no, it's gone down, right? So the humidity is just reduced. The temperature, curiously, is still, it's like clearly what I'm looking for is a change in the temperature. I already knew that the anemometer worked. That already worked. And the fact that I'm seeing a change in the humidity here, that tells me good things. That tells me it's working. There's a slight change in temperature occurring. But, I've got, as you can see, I've got the heat gun on very, very low. I can put my hand in front of that, and you know, it's just like really having a hairdryer sort of temperature. And so if I just get the anemometer running again, and I aim that at the sensor, hey presto, the humidity is going down with all the warm air that's going in, the warm dry air going into the sensor, and obviously I'm also seeing the change in temperature there. So that's perfect. I'm going to turn that off now. So I can see now that I am getting temperature changes. Okay, let's have the video back off of there and go back to, yeah. So that's my final result. Obviously there's a bit of lag when it comes to the temperature change, and yes, that's basically working. So welcome back to the workshop where we started, and sure enough, it's worked, hasn't it? The SHTC3 module, which came from eBay, was about £5.60 sterling, has indeed worked, and the Youshiko unit is working again. Okay, it might not be perfect. Well, I think it basically is, you know, within the reasonable limits that you'd expect one of these devices to work. I think that it is working, and so I'm obviously not going to put it out again. It's not going to be, I'm not going to replace the Bresser unit. I do believe that one, rightly or wrongly, I believe it to be the best option right now. Certainly I don't have to go climbing up a ladder to change the existing one. I'm happy with the one that's there. So anyone who is out there, however, thinking of actually finding a common fault, this apparently is quite a common fault with the Youshiko weather station 7-in-1 weather station unit, and I'm not convinced it didn't just turn out to be due to the break in the ribbon cable, but also I did try the sensor, and you look at my previous video to this when I was trying these things out, and the other sensor didn't seem to work. Now maybe I broke it trying to remove it from the housing. Either way, that would have had to have happened because the ribbon cable was bust. So a new piece of cable, a new SHTC3 temperature and humidity sensor, and put it all back together, and it does appear to be playing ball. The one thing I don't know, and the one thing that is slightly different, is that the original design had a very thin membrane over the cover of the sensor, and I don't know long term whether there's going to be any potentially negative effects on the sensor, whether moisture or dust or anything might affect the performance of the sensor in situ. But you know, as a sort of really it's a non-critical piece of equipment that gives you a general idea, hey, it's possible. There you go. So SHTC3, that's the one you need. It's even printed on the circuit board, as I later found out. But the things I've read that said that Youshiko have played the sensors close to their chest and haven't really told people much about what they do, and that's what ChatGPT said as well, apparently. Well, I can tell you that's what it is. So don't be afraid to give these things a go. Try out what you can, and you know, it turns out that there's nothing really new under the sun, and there's loads of you know, there's loads of sensors and different bits out there, and it was just a question of finding the right one and looking at the you know, for the details. So I'll leave it there. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this interesting, and if you have one of these sensors, I especially hope that should it fail, that you'll be able to replace the components in the way that I have been discussing. Okay, this is Trev Talks Tech signing off for now. See you again soon.